Okay, well, I thought I was going to be broadcasting over on my other page, but it turns out I don't have that page, access to that page as managing it on my cell phone. Technology. Oh my God. You got to know it. You got to love it. In fact, yeah, let me do a quick commercial break here for those of you who try to use technology. And I have to say, try. Hey, D'Anthony. When you inbox somebody, so this is a tech tip right off the muscle for you. When you inbox somebody and you think that you want something to go viral, it cannot go viral through an inbox. You have to post it on your site so that people will get likes and loves and shares and comments on it. That's the only, and forward, that's the only way for it to get, hey, what's up, big bro? Little bro, Jamie. That's the only way for it to get any type of hope for being viral. So come on, let's start using the technology properly. Whenever somebody inboxes me, sends me an instant message and says, make this go viral, this and that, I actually usually just delete it. Because think about it. What am I going to do? I got to send it to 10 people, 20 people, or whatever you say. You know what? Now I got to sit and think of 10 people and always send it. Post it on your site, on your Facebook page, so people can click the like and they can click the share, and that's what's going to help something go viral. So if you want to try to get something out there, that's what you want to do. All right? Anyway, that's a tech tip at the beginning, and of all people to give you a tech tip, not me, because I always tell people that I'm tech functional, not literate. In other words, I can make the computer do what it has to do, but if I have to explain it to you, you're in trouble, because usually I'm going to say, hey, what's up, Dexter? Usually I'm going to say, did the red button do this? And did you click on the blue line? All right. But sometimes I actually know what I'm talking about. Good morning, William. Yeah. Good morning, Semper Fi. I'm going to say hi to some people here. Hey, hey, Warren, happy Father's Day, because you always on the father's moment. Love you and your kid. Okay. And your sister and your wife, Candace. Say hello for me. Okay. But here's my message today. If you saw the announcement, okay? Yeah, Dexter, long time. I'm going to try not to keep answering these things so I can get through to the message. But my message today is the END and yeah, YEAH. I know somebody might have thought, oh my God, did he mean to say YEAR for year? No, I meant to say yeah. Because one thing I'm going to say to you is we're going to wish you a happy new year. Because every time you say yes, it makes a difference. But let's start with the end, the END. I call it the exciting new day. I want you to stop and think about, we don't have to wait for December 31st to start talking about Happy New Year. Because, like I say, it's always about a yes. You've gotten a yes every day this year because you've woken up. See, that's a yes. And every time you've had the chance to wake up, is that my Dorothy? It sure is. My glasses wasn't on. I thought I saw your picture. Every day that you've had a chance to wake up, you should have said, yeah, I'm here. I'm going to do it again. And so what I did, though, is I went through my calendar, through my appointment calendar, and just looked at some of the highlights of my year in review. So don't wait for December. To me, every day is Happy New Year because we always get to start out a new 365. That's why if you've got a birthday announcement from me, it said Happy Birth Anniversary, because every day you start a new 365. By the way, I celebrate the 27th of every month because I'm a month older, okay? All right, so here's how my year went in review. Hey, Kevin. Here's how my year went in review and how yours could go. What's happening, Brenda? All right. Okay. January. First of all, January was my first month with my new Facebook page, because Facebook, as I like to call it, Fussbook, deactivated my original page in December after sending me these weird warnings. October through November, they cut me on and off 4 times where I had to authenticate something, and then when I authenticated, they said, "Oh, okay, no problem. We put you back on," and it was the same off and on authentication where in December they just totally stopped. I'll give them a little credit because I stayed on top of it, and eventually I did get a real person, not to talk to, but through email, and like I say, for some reason they reactivated me. So you don't have to worry about friending me on the other page. I've now got 2 pages. Both of them have my birth name, which that was helpful because nobody really knew my birth name. Everybody thought my name was Sporty. That's my nickname. My birth name is Sporty. So that's pronounced Rispodee, like Sporty, but it's Ryspodii. So great. So anyway, so January, I celebrated that was my first month with my new page. Then also in January, on the 12th and the 13th, me and my sister, we are now the patriarch and matriarch in our family circle. And so we went to visit our niece and nephews in Connecticut. They both go away to private school, Manu and Skylar. So we went to visit them. I flew to New York, and then we rented a car and we drove up to Connecticut to hang out with them. You know, are the teenagers in your lives? You remember, you have kids. You don't have to have maternal children to be a parent. Okay, you have children. You have nieces and nephews. You have neighbors. You have co-workers who are younger than you. Somebody is checking you out and looking forward to seeing what you do so that you live your life rather than tell someone else how to live theirs. So we went to see my niece and nephew. We took them out to, they both go to different schools, by the way. So first we went to see Manu, took her out. Is that how we did it? Yeah, we went to see her. We took her out to dinner. Then we drove to see Skylar playing his basketball game. And then Manu decided she wanted to come with us so she could get a double dinner. So we took both of them out to dinner as well over there. So, you know, that's been a joy. And then on January 20, I was a part of history. I was excited. See, this is the way I look at things. I had a speaking engagement with the military, with the Air Force down in Orlando, Florida. And if you remember, and even if you don't, if you look at your calendar, on January 20th is when the government shut down. Now, that was on a Saturday. And when they shut down, we had already started the sessions. The sessions go from Saturday morning to Sunday afternoon. So we had already started the sessions. I think I had done 2 seminars already. And and at 11 o'clock, they pulled us in and told us that, you know, the government was shut down and the event was over and everybody had to go home. Why did I put that on my list of wonderful things? Because it was so cool to see how calm and collected our military people, you know, they just went into action. You know, he called all the speakers and the staff in a separate meeting, and he read the memo saying that it was shut down. And, you know, and when he read it, you didn't hear a lot of, oh. No, you heard, oh, well, sir, I've got such and such and such. And sir, and then he turned, he said, how long is it going to take you to get the hotel bills collected? How long is it going to take you to get the flights updated? And they were like, okay, I can have that done for you in an hour. They were in action, and I just loved it. So it's always going to be a standout part in history for me because I'm so proud to be a part of that contract. Speaking with the military, it's called a Yellow Ribbon Reintegration Program. So even as those of you who say to me, well, we want to pray for our military families, please don't forget that when you say that, you are talking about the whole family, not just the service member who's deploying. It's the whole family is deploying with that person because their lives will have to change. And of course, one thing I talk to them about is how they have to make sure that they keep their attitudes right so it can change for the better. February 13th to the 15th, I got a chance to speak at a sexual assault and prevention victim advocates conference. They do a refresher training in South Carolina. This is with the South Carolina Army National Guard. They have a group of service members in the Army already who their job is to help monitor the sexual assault guidelines and cases in the military, and it's specifically in their area of the country. So that's going on all around the country. So the government, the military people are trying to take care of their own. They're being their brother's keeper, and we can still keep the prayers from you. But I've been doing that with them for 4 years now. I do their refresher training. So because imagine the pressure that's on them to have to be concerned about X amount of people and their sexual assault mentalities or occurrences. I'm sorry. The reason I said mentality, let me go spoiler alert, because I also work with the MRT, which is the military resiliency trainers. And those are the people who are in charge of helping people in terms being resilient and fighting off suicide. So that's in another month. In fact, that's going to be in June. So, but I work with both groups, and they usually meet together. In this case, they met separately. So I worked with the victim advocates in February down in Charleston. So that was wonderful. In March, first, let's start with March 3rd. I got to visit a good friend of mine in Ahoskie, North Carolina, one of my homeboys, Rob Lewis. And the reason I bring it up, because it's important to enjoy your friendships, especially those that have been cultivated over years. And what happened was I had a speaking engagement in Virginia Beach. And so what I did is rented a car and I drove to the engagement. And on the way back, I drove and stopped at Rob's house and sat down and had dinner with him and his wife, Faye, and got to see his daughter, Kiki, who I met her when she was like first born. And so to now see her as I don't know, a 20s, 30s, I don't even know how old Kiki is. Let's go with 20s. And she is now following in Rob's footsteps as a thriving and upcoming lawyer. It's always good to see the growth in our families and celebrate that as well. Then also in March, on March 21st, I won the second leg in the contest in Toastmasters, competing for the World Championship of Public Speaking. And I won the area contest. To get to the World Championship, you've got to win club, area, division, district, and then you go to the semifinals and the finals. So I'll keep you on pins and needles as I work toward when I won. But on the 21st, I won the area contest using my speech, which is also the title of my latest book, Stuff Happens. STUFF, situations that unleash our focus and faith. All right? Okay, then in April, you know what the first thing I celebrate about April now is that I had a no-income April. I had a no-income April. And so you have to recognize that if we could actually, if we were to get in a time machine and go back, you'd see that my energy did not drop in April. Just because the fact that I didn't have any speaking engagements, I mean, I had income coming in from the month before, but since I didn't have any engagements in the month of April, I would have no money coming in May. But that's the way it goes. But I still kept my spirits up because I was just enjoying my life. It was a year for me. Yes, I kept waking up. And I'm not, insisting that you feel good about not having money, but I am insisting that you not let money be your God, and recognize that. Even with this broadcast, I call it Glue Wednesday, GLUE. God's love undoes everything. See, God is still my glue. That's who keeps it together for me. So even when I didn't have money coming in, I still kept it together, because I always look at it as, oh, wow, look what God is putting me through so I can be a testimony for someone else. I can give so much more of a testimony when I've been through something. Hey, Chuck, all right? So, and Chuck Dale is on, and you know what? See, you have to see your blessings. Chuck is one of my blessings through his daughter, Kayla. Kayla is just one of my most favorite young examples in the world. She used to be in my public speaking class when I was at the Boys and Girls Club volunteering in Chicago, and she was one of my top speakers and readers. And now to see how she's moved on with her life and she's become doing so great in her career in the Navy, I just love that young lady. So, hey, Chuck and Nikki, tell her I said hello, okay? So that was March. I'm still in April, so I had the no income April. Then on April 13th, I got the chance to go to Knoxville, Tennessee. Hey, what's up, Carrie? To celebrate my high school roommate, Marvin, his mother's 85th birthday. And so it was so good to celebrate with her, because she's been a wonderful, I don't call anybody a replacement for my mother. She was a mother to me as well, even while my mother was alive. So, count the women that you have considered your mothers, count the guys. Recognize that your connections make a difference and put them where they are. Then at the end of April, on April 21st, that's when I won the division contest. I competed, and I told you I did the area in March. And so April 21st was the division competition, and I came in first place there and won that to move on to the district, which was in May. May 5th was the district conference, and out of 10, there were 10 division winners. By the way, in the division contest, there were area winners, champions. So there were 8 of us competing from areas for the division. And then for the district, there were 10 of us, 10 division champions competing for the district. I was the first of the 10 speakers to speak. I set a high bar, and I said to all of them, my fellow speakers, I said, okay, the bar has been set. One guy got a toe over the bar. Good friend of mine now, Kevin Johnson. And Kevin became the district champion and moved on to the semifinal. And he would later move on. He won his semifinal round and made it to the championship. He didn't win the championship, but he now gets to call himself one of the top 9 speakers in the world at the 2018 World Championship of Public Speaking. 2 things I said from that. One, when people came up to me and said, oh man, on that day on May, oh, we wish you had, we thought you did great. We wish you had won, that type of, consoling type of thing. And I looked at them and I said, you know what? You still have to win second place. You still have to win second place. Don't allow people to make your success only about being and coming in first place. Winning is personal. Remember, WIN, what I need. Each of us has a personal win that makes us successful. Carrie, who's on right now, Carrie's just, got over. I remember seeing him in crutches. So that was a personal win if he's doing his therapy and walking rather. My sister Dot is on the line, right now. I know how she has really, we started our entrepreneurship around the same time, and she's been flourishing in her photography business. So it's Dot Ward Photography. So every one of us has a personal win, and it's not always going to mean that we come in first place, but it means that we are better than we were yesterday. So I didn't win the championship, the district championship, and go on, but I still won second place. You still have to win second place. You still have to take third. You still have to finish in fourth. You still have to see yourself as a winner. And then one of the things I said to Kevin, Kevin, you know what? You have to understand that I still get to say that I finished second to one of the top 9 speakers in the world in 2018. See, make it work for yourself. I finished second in the district, but since he went to the championship and finished as one of the top 9 in the world, well, guess what? I finished second to one of the top 9 speakers in the world in 2018. And I can also look at my resume and say that in 1996, I went to the championship and I finished as one of the top 9 speakers in the world. Find what makes you a winner so that you can say it's an end, E-N-D, an exciting new day, and I get to say yeah and move on with yes. Then in June, the first weekend in June, I met a couple in Dallas. I was doing a yellow ribbon program in Dallas with the Army, and I met Terry and Ken. And I give them the shout out, Terry and Ken Bird, B-I-R-D. I met them in Dallas because their daughter was getting ready to deploy, and we had such a heartwarming conversation sitting in the lobby talking about my speaking and some things that, some concerns that we're having and some comforts that they had gone through and with the deployment, etc. And the reason I also bring that up is because what happened was both of them, they're Chicago Cubs fans, and I'm San Francisco Giant fan, and that's what got us talking. See, sometimes it's the differences that we have that helps us find the commonalities. So from us laughing about having opposing teams that have a great rivalry history, we became great friends. And you'll see that later, because then on June 12th through 13th, they're from Nashville, Tennessee. I had training in Nashville, Tennessee with my speakers group, with the cadre of speakers who we do the Yellow Ribbon program. So when I went to do my training, recertification type of thing, it's refresher training, I kept in touch with Terry and Ken, and we got together and we went out and had dinner. always recognize that you have to look for the right spirits that make a difference in your END, your exciting new day, so that you can say, yeah. See how it starts to come up? All right. Then, but also on the 5th through the 7th, I did that MRT training that I mentioned for South Carolina National Guard, the military resiliency trainers, the people who are concerned and responsible for monitoring the suicide ideation in the South Carolina Army National Guard, their refresher training. See, sometimes, even though we talk about wanting to pray for our military service members when they deploy, we have to recognize that they're still going through tough stuff right here in the States. So they are still helping combat people who may be thinking about taking their life by suicide. And by the way, that is actually the new terminology. It's not committing suicide. See, commit sounds like success. You commit to something. So if you can remember to say that someone took their life by suicide, it would be more of a respectful way of handling it. Also, in June, I came up with my design for my new t-shirt. And I started my faith, F-A-I-T-H, feeling as if there's hope. If you've seen the t-shirt, you can see it at my website. But the back side of it says, when one door closes, and as most people would say, another will open. But my saying is, when one door closes, go for the windows. Go for the windows, because there are usually more windows than there are doors. And you have to constantly put yourself in position to make another good choice, because you've made a lot of good choices in your life. Are you giving yourself credit for it? That's part of the stuff that I talk about, situations that unleash our focus and faith. So I came up with this t-shirt design. I now have a green one as well, a lime green one, which I dedicated to the memory of my mother, who died from liver cancer. And the green ribbon is the ribbon for liver cancer support. So, check all the ribbons have different colors. There's always something to support, because there's always, the fact that you woke up this morning as a reason and an opportunity to be supported and give your support. In July, I had a no-income July. Once again, kept my energy up, because I always see that God has me on a pace that is not tied to and worshiping money, but recognizing that I have sustenance and I have resources. Because one of the things that I'll be celebrating is that I have not borrowed money this year. I have, and you know what? I'll have to go back and look how many years in a row since I've been in Charlotte 8 years. I think I've had to borrow money every year since I've been down here, from my sister Zette and my cousin Carolyn. Y'all, I gotta give y'all shout outs, because they're my two main people, and Maggie, have always been there to support me and help me get through. And Butch, rest in peace. So it's so important, to be able to have resources and do well. Then also in July, on the 20th, I spoke at a group called Belk Corporation. It's like a Macy's type thing, but they did a thing called Belk Talks, like a TED Talks, where I was one of 10 speakers, and we get to choose our own topic. And mine was change. Masters of Change, where I asked the audience, and I always ask you, do you like change? Okay, and most people tend to say no. I said, well, do you like a challenge? Most people tend to raise their hand and say yes. Well, don't you see that change is just challenge with an LLE in the middle? Spell it and you'll see. CHALLE. NGE. And that LLE stands for life's learning experiences. It's the things that we learn in life that help us deal with change much better than we give ourselves credit for. So recognize that you are a master of change. And I've now turned that into one of my seminars as well, just from having that opportunity to do that. It was a 10-minute speaking engagement, but it was just a showcase. It was just to uplift the employees at Belk. Then, so that's July. Then in August, my nieces visited me, Vilori and Crystal, and then my great nieces, their daughters, Damani and Chalet. They were here from the 1st to the 7th. We had an absolute ball, and I call Vilori my sister niece, because each of my nieces, I actually kind of named them something. I've got 11 nieces, and I tend to name them something different, because they all deserve to have their own category, because they all have special places in my heart and in my life. Are you keeping the people in your life in their proper place and perspective? You could be, and you should be, because everybody is worth it, and they are the piece of your puzzle that helps keep you flowing. So, try to make sure that you find ways to recognize them and do that. Also in August, I celebrated that I got my TSA renewal. That's the frequent flyer, not frequent flyer, known travelers. So that I can go through the airports without getting on the long lines. I can go through the pre-check lines, not have to take off my shoes, rarely have to take off the belt. I tell you that the system is not flawless. Different airlines, different airports seem to have just a little difference in what they ask you to take on and keep on, but that's fine. It gets you through much faster than the norm. And I love walking past and seeing all the people on that long line. If I see you on that line, I will wave. But I got my renewal, and when you pay for the renewal. When I got mine, I think it's good for 5 years. Okay, so it's not quite as long as a passport, but I did just the TSA. But there's also one called time's up. I don't know what the other one's called, but that one, the TSA was $85, and this other one is $100, and that one actually carries just a little bit more weight. Sometimes they'll let you board the flight sooner based on you having that clearance. Okay, so it's like a government clearance. Hey, Nathan. All right, so that was August. But also another wonderful thing that happened to me in August. I celebrated my 63rd year on this earth. An exciting new day. It's always the end because it's always the beginning. And you get a chance to say yes, an exciting new day. I celebrated my 63rd year. And sometimes I wish I had thought to do it on this broadcast. I like to sometimes just count how many months old I am. Because, when people say, oh, you don't look 63, I say, Bulletin, you have to redefine 63, because I am 63 and I'm not returning one of my years. So I don't see why I need to fake my age or be tentative. Now, I don't want to use the word ashamed, because I think some people are just tentative about speaking about the age because that's what we've been taught. But I'm going to broadcast my age because I did not know I was going to get this far. I'm sorry if you knew that you were going to get to the age you are, but I didn't know. All right. In fact, I grew up thinking I'd never make it to 30. So you want to talk about somebody who was happy and nervous at 29? I've been celebrating hard ever since. So that was August. Then in September, I got to celebrate what? That I was still 63. Yeah, I got to celebrate that I made it to a new month. And then on September 27th, I celebrated that I was a month older, which I share with a good friend of mine, Deb Davis, because we always laugh. I call her one of my birthday mates because it's a 27th. And if I were to go back on August 27th, I got Tracy Thomas, I got Monica. So there are plenty of people that you find ways and find commonalities so that you can celebrate one another, starting with celebrating yourself, because we need you to celebrate you. Also in September, that's when I started my fantasy football league. Oh my God, how many years I've been playing fantasy football for over 30 years now. Wow. In fact, don't lie, 33 years. Because I started playing with my friends Ken and John and Waterbury and all of them in Chicago. So we had our 32nd draft of playing fantasy football. It's one of my addictions, and I totally love it. What's your addiction? Is it something harmless? I'm not like a mad gambler. It's something that keeps me occupied. It's a way of challenging myself and keeping involved with what's going on. See, everything you do is a part of your success and growth. So just find a way to celebrate. And then also in September, on September 29th, I was a part of a book signing that my good friend Brian McNeil gave. And Brian is a wonderful guy who I met when I moved to Charlotte. And we've been, for 8 years, and we laugh because he's always inviting me to stuff. And I was either out of town or busy and this and that, just back and forth. Well, finally, I was able to go to one of his events, which he allowed me to be one of the authors that day in the author showcase. And in the process of doing that, I met it was great getting back into the poetry circle, with some wonderful young poets, because that's where I started my business. I started my business as, reading poetry. Remember Spoetry? Sporty's poetry. And so I started my business that way, and that's how it's now evolved into the motivational speaking business that it is, using positive words. But what they did is help me go back to the roots of using the poetry. And in the process, hey homegirl Vicky, in the process of using the poetry, it was just a great spiritual reconnection to me. And I met a couple of young poets that are just phenomenal. One of them, Jah Smalls, that's Jah, J-A-H, yeah, like God. Jah Smalls, who was a survivor in being gunned down in New York City. I forgot, 27 years ago. And so and that's why you see I hesitate, because I wanted to make sure I didn't say he was